Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to WJOB Veterans Views Radio Show. We are coming to you live this Friday morning on 104.7 FM and 12:30 a.m. And we have a new website where you can also watch the live stream. It is www.job1230.com. Again, that's www.job1230.com. And we have a very, very important show for you this morning. We have an honored guest who is going to be with us, Shoshana Johnson, who enlisted in the Army as a cook in 1988. And then in February 2003, she deployed to Kuwait as part of Operation Iraqi Freedom with the 507th Maintenance Company from Fort Bliss, Texas. And we cannot wait to talk to Shoshana. She is actually zooming in by phone from the East Coast with us. But before we get to Shoshana, we have some very important announcements to make. There is something very important to announce that occurred this weekend before we thank our wonderful Patriot Partner contributors. By the way, Steve, I didn't even say good morning to you this morning. How are you this morning, my friend? Good. I'm
not cooking in my car, so yeah.
We have a heat wave going on in the Chicagoland area, in the Northwest Indiana Chicagoland area. And I think we're going to get to the end of it soon. Not too much more to go. So everybody stay cool out there. Yeah, don't put dogs in cars, not even for a moment, even with the windows down. It gets a lot hotter in vehicles. Just a nice reminder. But we have something to announce. On June 22nd, 2025, the United States Air Force and Navy attacked 3 nuclear facilities in Iran as part of the Iran-Israel war. The Fordow uranium enrichment plant, the Natanz nuclear facility, and the Isfahan Nuclear Technology Center were targeted with 14 GBU-57 Alpha Bravo MOP massive ordnance penetrator bunker buster bombs. They're 30,000 pounds apiece, or 14,000 kilograms, and they were carried by Northrop B-2 Spirit stealth bombers, and also with Tomahawk missiles fired from a submarine. The attack, which was given the code name Operation Midnight Hammer, was the United States' first offensive action in the Israel-Iran war, which began on June 13th. Welcome, Lieutenant Colonel Arthurine Jones. Have a seat. And this happened on June 13th with surprise Israeli strikes. U.S. President Donald Trump said the strikes completely and totally obliterated Iran's key nuclear enrichment facilities. However, a final bomb damage assessment of the strikes is still ongoing, and a leaked preliminary U.S. intelligence report suggests that the damage was more limited. Iran retaliated the next day with Iranian missiles targeting the largest U.S. military base in the Middle East, Al-Udeid, home to the U.S. military's headquarters for all operations in the region. And some British military personnel also serve there on rotation. Thankfully, no casualties were reported. So we're grateful, very grateful that there were no casualties. Our co-host Rocky Rockwell, as we all know, has been on a temporary active duty in the Middle East as part of Operation Inherent Resolve Spartan Shield. Middle East troops are now on lockdown, of course, and he is scheduled to return stateside in a week, whereupon he will decompress for a month and then return to the show sometime in August. We can't wait to see you, Rocky, and we are grateful there were no casualties and to remind everyone to support our troops currently serving for our enduring freedom. They are in harm's way, and their families bear the brunt of their selfless service. And with that, we also have one more quick thing to announce before you get to the contributors, Steve. Today, actually it was 2 days ago on June 25th in 1950, but today is when the Korean War, U.S. involvement began in the Korean War on June 27th, 1950. And that was a war that began June officially 25th, 1950, ended July 27th, 1953. It was an armed conflict on the Korean Peninsula fought between North Korea and South Korea. and their allies. North Korea was supported by China and the Soviet Union, while South Korea was supported by the United Nations Command, led by the United States. The conflict was one of the first major proxy wars of the Cold War. Fighting ended in 1953 with an armistice, but no peace treaty, leading to the ongoing Korean conflict. About 3 million people were killed in the war, mostly civilians, making it perhaps the deadliest conflict of the Cold War era. There are some rough estimates of civilian fatalities, and they were staggering. There are various numbers here, but I think most of them agree that 1,658,436 civilians that are documented perished. The number is much higher. So basically 75% civilian death rate. The MAA are 7,400, still listed as non-accounted for, and the South Korean loss was 137,900 troops, with North Korea losing around between 406,000 and 500,000. Same amount of civilian losses for North Korea. Very deadly war, especially for civilian casualties. And let's have a moment of silence for all who gave, many of them, the ultimate price. My friend Steve, would you please thank our wonderful contributors?
Yes, we would like to thank American Legion Post 16. They meet the second Tuesday at 6 p.m. at the Munster Town Hall. You can reach them at 219-554-9166. American Legion Hammond Victory Post 168. They meet the first Tuesday at 6 p.m. at 6849 Columbia Avenue in Hammond. You can reach them at 219-937-4264. Calumet Breweries, located at 6535 Osborne Avenue in Hammond. You can reach them at 219-845-2242. Calumet Park Cemetery and Funeral Chapel, always supporting our veterans, 2305 West 73rd Avenue in Maryville. Call for special veteran savings and complete burial packages. You can reach them at 219-769-8803 or at the chapel, 219-736-5840. DAV Chapter 17, they meet the first Thursday at 7 p.m. at VFW Post 802, 5820 Holman Avenue in Hammond. DAV Chapter 80, they meet the second Friday at Cedar Lake at American Legion Post 261-13050 Washington Street, Cedar Lake. You can reach them at 219-386-2282. DAV Chapter 102, they meet the first Friday at the Fraternal Order of Eagles at 805 Elm Street in Valparaiso. Doors open at noon for claims. Meeting will be from 6:30 to 7:30, and then claims will start again until they are done. You can reach them at 219-200-0404. Labor's International Union of Labor's Local 41, located at 500 Superior Street in Munster. You can reach them at 219-924-7922. Military Order of the Purple Heart, 721. They meet the second Thursday at 7 p.m. at VFW Post 802 at 5820 Holman Avenue in Hammond. Family Dental Care. Veterans receive free exams, x-rays, cleanings, and as well as 10% discount on all other services. 7 convenient Chicagoland and Northwest Indiana locations, Chicago's east and south sides, Calumet City, Crestwood, Oak Lawn, Munster, and their soon 8th location in 3929 95th Street in Evergreen Park. You can call them at 219-804-9329 to schedule your appointment today. Ron J. Pressmer Insurance Company, located at 7207 Indianapolis Boulevard, Suite 1 in Hammond. You can reach them at 219-844-0103. Kuziak Construction. Located at 1235 Summer Street in Hammond. You can reach them at 219-923-3007. Dave Kuziak's show precedes Veterans Views and airs every Friday from 6 to 9. So be sure to tune in WJOB 104.7 and 12:30 a.m. for your Friday morning programming. And 988 Suicide Crisis Line.
Yes. The 988, yes. Thank you. Thank you very much to our contributors. We couldn't do this. We couldn't be on the air for 15 years going into 16 and 2026. We are so grateful for you. If you want to explore our wonderful contributor sponsorship packages, where you can also have a spot on our podcast, our new Veterans Views podcast, just give us an email at veteransviewscontributor@gmail.com. Again, that's veteransviewscontributor@gmail.com, or you can call the station at
845-1100.
Again, that's
845-1100.
And we will be opening the phone lines, by the way, today around 9:45. So keep that in mind if you want to engage with our most honored guest today. And without further ado, Kemper, will you please play Amazing Grace, former POW Shoshana Johnson, please?
Yes, I was.
Yes.
I actually looked at it on YouTube just now too. I didn't realize this little clip was out there.
Yes. Yeah, I saw it. I remember seeing it for the first time some time ago, and then reviewing it yesterday. It really made me cry again. But you know what? It has a very, very, very positive message at the end. We are so grateful that you're joining us. And I know that you're all the way across the country and you still made time for us. And we're so grateful for you being here. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much. And
thank you for having me.
Yes. And thank you so much for your sacrifices and for our enduring freedom. And, you know, a while back last year, Steve and I, there was a Disabled American Veterans article that came out about you that I wanted to talk about, and it was so touching. We talked about it on the air. It's from August 7th, 2024 by Elizabeth de Pompey, and it's called Female POW from Iraq, A Story of Hope and Healing. And you are also a DAV member, correct, in El Paso, Texas, in your hometown?
Yes, 187 in El Paso.
Chapter 187. Yes, Steve here, our co-host is an officer in Chapter 17 in Hammond, Indiana, locally here. Yes, that's our local chapter, but we have many up here. But what touched me about this wonderful article is just the positivity of it, and what you had stressed is how we have to come together. We have to come together, and disconnection really does lead to us. If we separate from each other, that leads to depression, and it can ultimately lead to a very bad outcome. And tell us now, how have you carried on these last two decades? What has it been like for you? And what have you done in particular that helps with your horrid service trauma that you had suffered?
Well, okay. One thing first, I have to make a slight correction. 1998, not 1988. You're aging me.
Oh, did I say 88? I'm so sorry.
Can't add 10 years.
Can't add 10 years.
Yeah. I'm already fighting the good fight against, being 52. So.
Right. I know that feeling.
One of the things I actually spoke at an event this past weekend, and with my cousins, who are veterans as well. One served in Iraq, and the thing that I always focus on, and anywhere I speak, is the fact that I have such a support system. I come from a military family. One of the cousins that was with me this past weekend, I got rescued, and 2 weeks later, he was in country in Iraq.
Oh, wow.
So this is, when you have a family like mine, which is very rare, so many veterans dating back to Korea and all the way through Afghanistan, we have a unique perspective, and I know I can reach out to them, not just as family members, but fellow veterans. But I also have a community in El Paso, which is a military town. Is my hometown, is where I deployed from, is where I came back to. And I have a lot of support. So it's really about being amongst people who love you, who support you, and can understand.
Yeah. When
you're alone or you isolate yourself, it does lead to depression. And there are times when, even when I'm in the midst of this love and support, I do the isolation. Sorry, tongue twister. But, once again, that support, I'll get calls, from the family. I haven't heard from you for a while. I have a friend from high school who works at my local VA. And she was like, if you don't answer this phone call, I'm coming to your door and you're going to answer this door or I'm going to have to get it, broken into
That's awesome.
to check on me.
Good.
So I'm very blessed. I'm very loved, and I understand that. But even with that, I do slip into a depression. I recently had a bout of it. What is it? Not even 2 months ago. The anniversary of the ambush and the rescue and stuff is very much a trigger for me.
Yeah.
And I started to slip, and they were calling me out on it. And I reached out to my therapist and my doctors at VA, and we're on the right track right now. We're on the right track.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Good. I love that you're able to like talk about it like that. I mean, that's some people can't even acknowledge that they have issues. So just the fact that you're able to talk so openly about it is awesome. I was reading that your dad's a former first sergeant. Do you think that helps? That helped with you dealing with it when you first came back because he already kind of knew.
Yeah.
And excuse me, Kemper, let's go ahead and
Well,
show the photo of Shoshana with her parents. Go ahead, Shoshana.
Sergeant First Class, y'all promoting him. He'll correct me. Yeah, it makes a difference because also my dad served in Desert Storm. It's the same theater.
Yeah.
So there are times when me and my dad can talk about stuff, and literally, I live 2 blocks from my mom and dad. So I go over there pretty regularly, and there are times when I can sit down and talk to my dad about it. Not just being in service, but deploying to the same area. And there are times when my mom will come in and talk about, oh, y'all talking about that desert stuff again, and she'll walk out. She doesn't understand it. And it makes a difference that I can sit down with my dad and talk about it, or even my sister.
And by the way, we're showing
She
a
was
photo.
in,
We're showing a photo, right? I don't mean to interrupt you. Right now, we're showing you at the Veterans Affairs Medical Center in El Paso, Texas, in 2022 with your parents. Your father, First Class Claude Johnson, and then your mother, Eunice Johnson. After you spoke during
yes,
a Black History Month event there. Beautiful. Yeah. Go ahead. Excuse
yes,
me for
yes.
interrupting.
No problem. So yeah, it's even my sister, after 9/11, she deployed to help start Afghanistan, that conflict. So, me and my family can sit down and talk, and especially since, like I said, my parents live 2 blocks away, and my sister lives down the street. So I really have a wonderful support system.
Wonderful. And the American Legion. Do you also belong to an American Legion post as well, Shoshana?
Yes, I
You do.
do. American Legion Post 832 in El Paso,
Oh, let's give
Texas.
them a big old shout
Um,
out. Yes. All right. Yes.
yeah,
Way to go.
actually my Blue Monday's coming up soon, so I'm making chicken pot pie.
Oh, I would love the recipe if you could share it with
Oh.
us.
So isn't that hard to make for a lot of people? Chicken pot pie?
Well, for Blue Mondays, when it's football season, I know to cook more. If summer is not football season, so I'll cook about 35 individual chicken pot pies.
Wow. That's
Well,
awesome.
that's beautiful. Well, I want to talk
Army
to
cook, Army cook.
Army cook. Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
right.
Army cook. And I was looking also at a bio of you from when you spoke in Texas recently for an event. And are you coming out with a cookbook? Is that correct, or has it already come out?
I've been, oh, it hasn't come
No.
out. I've been working on it for years now, years now. And my youngest niece, she has been helping me put some of the recipes together. Sometimes you have to go over recipes over and over again because you start to notice that when you freehand things, you'll add a little something, add a little something, just like your grandma used to do, but that's not really conducive to how you put together a cookbook. So it's a long process. I never realized how long it is, but
So you had to figure out how
that
much
is
that
one of my,
pinch really is.
Yeah.
yeah. It's amazing how they used to cook stuff and it come out basically the same every time, and they weren't measuring the doggone thing.
Do you like to bake or do savory dishes more, or is it equal?
Bake.
Bake, yeah. And
No, baking is my specialty. I
oh,
actually went back to school and studied pastry at my community college in El Paso. So baking is my thing. Is the preciseness of the measurements and the bake time and stuff like that really gives me. It's kind of like the military. It gives you that structure um, and precision. Your uniform has to look a certain way. You have regulations. You have to measure things out.
right.
And it's the same way with baking for me. You have to measure things out to get that exact chemical reaction and so forth. Cooking, you can add a little bit, just add a little bit of this and add a little bit of that. Not as much as baking. You can't do that much in baking because the chemical reaction will be off.
That's why I love baking so much, because I can do a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and I like to make the same dish different every time.
I never thought
And
about that.
yeah. So, but then again, like you, I also have some things where I like to be precise as well, because
Yes.
I like that. It helps to keep disciplined, and it helps to keep busy, because when I asked you if you were the member of a Legion, American Legion, because we have that wonderful Be the One to Save a Life program, and I just recently, probably about 2 months ago, went through the virtual training. It's an hour and a half virtual training. It's based upon the Columbia Suicide Protocol, and it really is a wonderful thing. And it one thing when I went through this training they talked about was how important it is to have a schedule, have a routine, have something to keep you disciplined.
Hmm.
And to go back to something you said earlier when we were talking, you have to also have those people who care about you and are willing to bust down the door as well, because being disciplined and having something to do all by yourself is not what it's all about. We got to do it together, and we got to create that community, just as you have been doing now for decades after your capture. And I couldn't agree with connection more. And we are very blessed here, by the way. I don't know if you've ever been in the area, in the Chicagoland area, Shoshana. Have you ever been in this area in Northwest Indiana, up here by Chicago?
Yes,
Yes.
and as a matter of fact, the place I was just in this weekend was Indiana. I was in
Oh,
St. Joseph, Indiana.
oh,
No, St. Joseph, Michigan. But
okay.
you fly into South Bend, Indiana.
Yes.
Yeah, because it's right there.
Yes.
Oh, okay,
Oh, wonderful.
nice.
Yeah. So we have you probably know, a very well-connected veteran community here, up here in Northwest Indiana. We're very
Yes.
grateful for that, and not everybody has that. So that's why it's important to reach out to those who don't have these well-connected communities. And the Be the One program, it's not just for Legionnaires. We bring this program into our communities, into our neighborhood. I've already begun doing it in my Knickerbocker Manor neighborhood in Munster, Indiana, by knocking on doors. And you don't say,
Yes.
"Hey, I just went through a suicide prevention, training." You just knock on doors of people that you haven't seen in a while, whether they be elderly or people who live alone, and they don't have a lot of contact with each other, and that saves lives. That saves lives.
It
So yeah,
does.
yeah.
I'm also a member of Military Order of the Purple Heart, and that's one of the things we like to do. Um, it's a Wednesday buddy check.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yes, and Steve is
Um,
a Purple Heart.
we
Yeah,
encourage our members. Yeah,
yeah. Go ahead.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
I'm sorry. Steve is also a member of a Purple Heart chapter. Go ahead. Go ahead. I'm so sorry.
Oh, thank you for your
Yeah.
service. Um,
Yeah,
yeah,
right?
we encourage a once a week buddy check.
Mhm.
And our monthly meetings. We remind everybody, don't forget to do your buddy check. You don't know at that moment that call can say, "Hey," to somebody, and it could save a life.
Yeah.
Um, Another thing that we encourage, and I think we do that in we do it in DAV, American Legion, and Purple Heart, is that reach out to a battle buddy that you served with. Sometimes they don't have anybody else who can understand what they're going through, what they're remembering, and the person you served with understands in a way that even, some of my veteran family members can't understand. And that, pop up out of nowhere may seem, oh, I don't want to bother them, but you don't know that may be the exact moment to bother them, and it may save their life.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. And go
we
ahead.
we have Colonel Arthurine Jones here.
Yes.
You got any questions, Colonel?
Well, first of all, I would just like to say, my sister, you are perfectly and wonderfully made. And when we think about the military, you put a face on it that a lot of people don't see. You were a cook in the Army. You were a female. You were black. Your parents immigrated from Panama. And then you were captured and was a combat wounded prisoner of war. And you are not a loser. You are a winner for all women. And so you put that face, and I'm a DAV lifetime member, and I get the magazines monthly. And I remember getting the one from you, and I said, oh, this is what she looks like. And then it talked about your guilt in surviving. You made it so personal, and it is personal. And I just wanted to say, as a National Women Veterans United member, and as a member of the Women Veterans Group here in Indiana, and a lifetime member of several DAV organizations and several VFW organizations, I applaud you, because you make us really understand that it's not just the physically fit-looking, bench-pressing men that get to serve in this country and who are our heroes. You are our shero. And if you ever get a chance to come to Chicago, Indiana area, I would be more than glad, along with, I know, Connie Karras, to be your escort. Matter of fact, you don't need a doggone hotel. You can come stay with us, hang out with us, bless other sisters who are shut in and feel like they have no value. And they are not. I know for a while you couldn't do anything. And I would go to several functions, and Jessica Lynch would speak, and she always spoke of you. She always spoke well of you. However, you weren't ready at that time. So I'm so glad that you are ready. And Connie has your contact information. Chicago, Illinois, Northern Township of Indiana. We are wonderful places to visit. We have some secret, private nuggets to share with you. Please consider that. And I want to close up this gap. I heard about you. I saw it on the news. I served 27 years in the military. I was in Iraq twice. I went through Kuwait at the beginning of the war in an unarmored Humvee with about 10 other vehicles. So, you were right there with me, because I know you know about it. So if you ever have the time, or you ever come through here, please connect with us so that we can show you love, sister, and close up that gap to hug you and be with you in person. God bless you. God bless you.
Thank you. You're very kind. Thank you very much.
Yeah, Colonel Arthurine is, I don't know too many people up here who do more than her for veterans individually. I mean, she's picking veterans up. She's taking them food. She's taking. I commend Colonel Arthurine for all she does.
Oh yes,
we're blessed to have her up here.
She's our bedrock. She's our foundation. God bless you. God bless you, ma'am. And you know,
Absolutely.
yes, we're all in this together. We're all in this together.
Absolutely.
And you
Yes.
know, Shoshana, I want you to know, I mentioned this to you before you came on the show. We will be honoring you for an event in this area that will be taking place in November around Veterans Day, and it would be our honor if you could be a part of that. And again, as Lieutenant Colonel Arthurine Jones had just said, we'll be more than happy to host you.
We'll pick
And-
you
and-
up
and-
at the airport in a limo chauffeured
Yeah.
limousine, and we'll take you wherever you want. You won't be alone. You won't
No.
be isolated. You're just gonna be loved on, my sister.
And if we have it in our Veterans Views budget, perhaps we can even finance you coming out here. But we can talk about that later. But
Yes.
I do want to also say the article, the Disabled American Veterans article that came out last August 7th that I had brought up at the beginning of the show. You know, what struck me about that article, and actually made me cry from the moment I began reading it, is the very first sentence of the article says, "Every now and then, Shoshana." This is the first article. It's the lead-off sentence of the article. "Every now and then, Shoshana finds herself questioning whether she was worthy of being rescued." That survivor guilt, that horrid survivor guilt that so many people have. I think oftentimes, and what I learned from doing the Be the One, connection suicide prevention training online is most people who are in crisis and take their lives, and we know you're on the holding, Joe. We know there's a caller holding. We'll get to you, sir. We'll be right with you. They lose their lives coming back, not feeling a connection. Most of the troops of our military don't lose their lives to the war within while they're on duty, stationed somewhere and deployed. It's when they come home and they feel horrid survivor guilt, or there's trauma they don't want to talk about and they can't connect to people. So I think it's beautiful. One of the languages of love. This article spoke to me because how you bring your language of love of food and cooking and providing, and there's another one is music, and that's mine. There is no discrimination when you're serving things to people. Food, it's a welcome to the table, and if we could just have more of eating together. We're now in a microwave society where we put a box in a microwave and we eat by ourselves. What would you recommend to people how to, as a professional cook and somebody who brings love and welcome to the table, break bread with me? What would you suggest the average family do to make dinner more appealing, or how can they bring their family to the table? What strategies would you recommend for our veteran and general communities?
Make it an event. One of the things I did when my daughter's 25 now, but for her birthday, one of the things we did, and I think it was very unique. I guess her friends never did it. Instead of just having a birthday party, I would encourage her and her friends to come over for a dinner party. And I would cook, and I love sharing, my love of this event. And I would make them sit down together as a group, and I would go in my room and go in the back, and they sit and talk over a meal, and they could taste something new. So I think for families, what you do is bring it together, first of all, in the preparation, not just one person in the kitchen doing it, but togetherness. You do this part, I do that part. If you're not good at that, I'll help you. And part of that is talking through the instructions, especially if you're not necessarily culinary people.
That structure
have to
piece
work
you were talking about. That
meal out.
structure piece.
Huh?
That structure piece you were talking
I'm sorry?
The
Yeah.
structure
You're going to have to
piece
work
you were
together
talking
just to
about.
get the meal out. And it's a way to connect. Sometimes, you don't want to talk about your day. You don't want to talk about what happened at school, but you're still going to have to speak to each other and move together to get the meal out together. So
Right.
that's a part of communication, but it doesn't have to dig deeper than just right there. And then sometimes you can move on forward from there. Sometimes you may not be able to. You're just not ready for it.
Hmm.
But that kind of thing. And we have to go back to the back in the day of the old TV shows is everybody sitting down at the table without cell phones, without the TV on. And I do it too. I have a TV mounted in my fridge in my kitchen, mainly so I could try out new recipes on YouTube. But sometimes my daughter is me and my daughter and I have to say, you know what? Let's turn off the TV. It's just me and you. And it's hard.
Yeah.
We're at we're so attached to everything. It's not going to be easy, but it's worth doing. And when we do it as a family, because lots of times I host Thanksgiving at my house with my parents and my sisters, everybody brings a dish. There's no TV on. We're just sitting at the table and we're eating and we're talking and we go over everything from entertainment to politics. Um, so it's a way of connecting and understanding where each other is at, but it's not easy. And I think that's something we have to understand from the get-go. It's not going to be something you fall into easily, but if you work at it, just like anything else in life, it can help you move forward.
Hmm. Absolutely. It won't be easy. It's not easy. Nothing worth having really is easy, right? Except the
That
things
is
that we
correct.
really have nothing to do with, like the sunrise and the sunset, which are perfect, and that I look forward to
Yes.
more than anything, where humans don't have a hand in anything. But I'm going to go back to this wonderful Disabled American Veterans article of last August, and in it it mentions that you had reunited last March on the 21st anniversary of your capture with one of the Marines who rescued you. And he told you,
Yes.
yes, that was one of the greatest moments of his life, meeting you after all those years, and that it even exceeded his expectations. Um, and then he got to know you as the person beyond the mission. Do you still keep in touch with this Marine?
Yes, I
You
do.
do, yeah.
Yes, I do. I try to keep in touch with as many of them as possible.
Mhm.
Kearney is a little more special because that photo of the rescue, that's Kearney holding on to me.
Yeah. Kemper, could you
Oh,
show the photos?
that's awesome. I know exactly what photo you're
Yeah.
talking about.
Yes. The very tall one.
Yes.
Yes, we're showing it
Kearney,
right now. There he is. Yes. He's
and
the one
he's
with the
putting his
helmet.
hand up, like moving the
Yes.
camera out of my face. That's Kearney. And I actually just sent him a message the other day. We have a group chat with the gentleman who brought us together, Jay Glazier with Fox NFL. He brought us together. Um, and we're in a group chat together and we're talking about Jay being on the Food Network of all things. I
Oh,
turn
I
on
love
Wow.
it.
I turned on the TV in the hotel and then I hear
Yep.
Jay's voice talking about what is it? With Guy Fieri, the
Oh yeah,
diners, drive-ins and
and dives.
dives and stuff
Yes.
like that.
Yeah.
And Jay's on.
Uh, And Kemper, could
So
you
I
please?
sent the group, I said, what is this?
Yeah.
And Kearney and I are critiquing Jay for eating raw eggs and stuff like that.
Oh my God.
Oh, well, we do that when we have Caesar salad dressing, I guess, too. So, Kemper, would you please put that previous photo back on? Because there we go. Now, Shoshana, we're showing the photo. I don't know if you're watching the live stream on the WJOB website or not, but
Oh,
but is he the Marine holding your left arm with the glasses on? He's not the one on your right with the M16-2 pointed down with the muzzle, correct? Do you
no,
remember?
he's the one with the M16.
He's the one with the M16.
He's the
Okay.
one,
Yeah.
yeah, with
Yeah.
the Kevlar on.
Yes. Yes,
Yeah.
and the helmet. Okay. Yeah, he's certainly very tall.
Yes,
How
that's
tall are
Kearney.
you? How
I'm
tall are you?
5'3" on a good day.
Okay.
On a
Okay.
good day.
Kearney's over 6 feet.
Hmm.
Kearney was one of the ones kicking the door down in the rescue.
Oh my.
That's truly lawyership and just working, making sure we bring everybody home. It just looks like we're just one united military force of the United States of America.
At this
Yes.
at this point in the photo, you had just been rescued. But you have been shot in both ankles at this point, ain't it?
Yes.
Yes.
She can't
and
wear
you're
boots.
Still walking.
She can't wear boots.
That's amazing.
Oh my goodness.
And the thing is, right after that, they get me to the medical center and they put me in a wheelchair, and I was complaining.
Mm.
I'm complaining. I was like, I've been walking for weeks. What are you talking about?
You
And the
you
doctor's
Shiro,
like,
tell them you ain't no punk, right?
yeah. And I was like, I've been walking for weeks. And the doctor, Dr. Saslow, I remember the name, and I still, every once in a while, I can talk to Dr. Saslow, the doctor that performed. They had to operate on me the very next morning, but because the damage and stuff like that. But you're surprised what you can do when you have to.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's
and,
amazing.
And hold on, caller Joe. We know you're there. We'll get to you in just a minute. But in Shoshana, I was reading that you had to kind of fight for your disability. Do you want to talk about that for a minute? Address that briefly?
Yeah. That's that's a common thing for veterans. That's nothing new. During my medical board with the Army, I had to push back on a lot of it. They were very kind. I easily admit it. They were very nonchalant about my mental health issues.
Wow.
But the thing is, I was being medicated. I was actively representing my Army whenever possible. And I felt that was a slap in the face, and I fought back. And I hope, not just myself, Joseph Hudson, one of my fellow prisoners of war, he was getting med boarded soon after me, and we both fought back. And
Good.
I think we made a difference for those who came after us.
Good.
I hope so.
That's awesome.
I certainly hope so. And Steve can speak to this because, Steve, you are a veteran service officer who does disability claims with it. Have you noticed any kind of any kind of a racial or any kind of a discrepancy going forward since you've been doing claims?
They treat everything like a number with the VA, and it's just, a lot of people, a lot of vets think that the VA's out to get them, and then I have to tell them, like, no, it's not that they're out to get you. It's not that they're singling you out. It's just that they do that with everybody. Unfortunately, it's sad that I have to say that, but it is.
But what's sad is Shoshana was initially, if what I read is correct, only awarded 30% disability. 30% disability for a woman who's a POW, suffered horribly, and is the first African American POW in the history of the United States Armed Forces.
The DAV helped her, right? The DAV helped her fully. And you know what? We had a women's conference, and Steve, he's a very experienced service officer. However, it was full of 350 female veterans, and they talked about personal female issues. And Steve told me, he said, "Oh, I felt so uncomfortable." But to hear that, but I think he's got a big heart, and it opened up his heart and his mind. So they come to him freely now. They don't care if he's a male, female, or what he is. He's Steve Bramer, our service officer.
Yes. And thank you, Shoshana, for being a pioneer and all women before you for us, because we're reaping the benefits for that. Yes. And let's Shoshana, we're going to take our caller Joe, who's been holding for about 10 minutes. Let's take our caller Joe, and then we'll continue the conversation. Joe, good morning, sir. How are you? You're on Veterans Views.
Yeah.
Joe, will you please turn off your radio in the background? We're getting some feedback.
Give me a second. Oh, give me a second.
Sure, take your time. This is Joey Payonk, American Legion 54, a fellow Marine. I hope you had your crayons this morning for breakfast, sir.
Yeah, Barbara gave me crayons and a cup of tea. So yeah.
So
listen to everything that Shoshana's saying and stuff like that. If she was to make it here and stuff like that, other than of course we're all in Lake County here, so but if I knew when she was coming and stuff, I'd like to have her come talk to Post 54 and stuff like that, because we have a lot of older folks in here and stuff like that, and I think they'd be really interested in that. But the only thing she's talking about being a cook. My dad was a cook in the Korean War, and that's where I learned a lot of my stuff like that. When he come back home and showed me different things as I was growing up and stuff like that. But my dad was in the Korean War. But anyway, what I'm calling for is there going to be a show next week? Because with the parades and everything going on for 4th of July, are you guys having a show?
Yes, there is. We will be here.
Okay.
And the guest next week will be the Department of Defense Honor Guard. And I am now, I'll announce this, I am now a Department of Defense Honor Guard rifleman.
Congratulations.
So thank you. It's one of the greatest honors of my life to give back in that way. And I've done about
service, yes.
7 funerals so far. Bittersweet honor. But they will be here, various members of the Honor Guard. So do tune in, and we'll be here for you. It's the 4th of July. We'll be here.
Yeah, right. Well, I'm going to be MIA, unfortunately. We got to be at the parade by 9 o'clock next week, and then in line at 10 o'clock for our parade. So I will be MIA next week.
Very good. Do you have any questions for
Just
Shoshana?
listen to everything she was saying and stuff like that. And, going back to sitting down having dinner and stuff like that. We have the hardest time here, Barb and I, with the grandkids, because they wasn't with our phone. They want to have they don't want to do anything but, laptops and phones. No, shut it down, close it down, eat your dinner,
Good for you. Good for you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We get the terrible look. We want it until you finish your dinner. So like we're meanies out of it. But that's the best time. And we didn't have that. Don't forget when we were growing up, we didn't have. Of course, TVs always went up, but we didn't have laptops, computers when we were growing up. So it was always family time around the dinner time.
Right.
That seems to be missing a lot right now. Really,
Right. Right. That family time. Yes.
Absolutely.
That's
I
right.
keep thinking this way. When we have our holidays and Barb cooks and stuff like that, and, oh man, she can cook too like you and stuff like that for Christmas or Easter or Thanksgiving and lay out a thing, and we do just a banquet thing, and we invite everybody. Come on in and stuff like that, and God helps those help themselves. We don't have.
I'm hungry. I'm hungry. I'm coming over.
Yes.
Well, she knows. Connie knows where I live at, so that's fine. But you were from Texas. I got family in Texas, in the Fort Worth, Lauderdale, Fort Worth, Fort Worth area and stuff like that. And then I got and within that area, I got my dad's family still there. I got left and stuff like that in the Texas area.
Wonderful. Yeah, we're all connected. We're all but a few degrees, separation. Absolutely. And we'll ask Shoshana if she has any crayon recipes to share for the Marine Corps.
Now you can't season too highly because they can't lose the taste of the crayon. Don't forget, when you melt it down.
All right. Well, thank you, sir, for calling. I hope to see you soon. Give your little furry friend over there a big hugging kiss from Auntie Connie, and say hello to Barb. And sir, thank you for your selfless service for our enduring freedom. You have a safe, blessed Independence Day celebration.
God bless you. It's teamwork.
Yes.
You know that. TDAM, teamwork. Okay?
Teamwork makes a dream work. There's no I in team, sir.
Yeah,
all right.
You got it. God bless. Okay?
God bless.
All right?
God
Yes.
bless
All right.
you.
Have a good. Bye, Shoshana.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
I wish I had you over as a cook instead of those MREs. Oh my God.
Right? Oh my God.
No, I liked MREs. I
Every
I
day, all day. I knew it was something wrong with you, Connie. You're such a sweet person.
Beyond Mama dropping me on my head when I was a baby.
I love you.
Arthurine, it's the MREs. Yeah.
I'm telling you, there was a point in captivity when I would have been happy to get an MRE.
Oh my gosh. They didn't feed you?
They did. I wouldn't say they even feed us, but you're getting rice every day. Sometimes you get a piece of meat and stuff like that. But when you think, there are times when you're like, man, I could go for an MRE right now.
Oh
and you don't know until everything's gone.
Yeah.
There's a couple of days in there where we got one meal. So
wow.
You bring
It
so
is what
much
it
more.
is.
You bring so much more than the articles that we read. The real personal touch. Thanks so much for sharing.
Yeah.
And I know
Not a
NWVU
problem.
can't get through. Our organization is trying to call in. They can't get through. However, they are listening in. Bless your heart.
Well, thank you. I'm very blessed. Very blessed.
Now, I read you were in captivity for 22 days, correct? Is that it?
Yes.
Yes.
22 days.
And are you comfortable telling us what those 22 days were like? I think I read that you were moved 7 times to 7 different locations. Is that
7
correct?
times.
Oh.
In physical
Yes,
pain.
7 times. Every time
Mm.
the U.S. got close, because we can hear the fighting. Um,
Mm.
there was a time when the Air Force dropped a bomb pretty close to our location and,
Mm.
shook up our prison. But every time the U.S. got close, we got moved in order to keep us out of being rescued,
But you
basically.
knew
It
that the
was,
United States was coming, right? You knew they were coming for
you
you,
know
right?
what? I knew no matter what was going on back here, as far as the politicians and whatever, I knew the people on the ground were looking for me.
Mm.
Yeah.
I knew I knew my fellow soldiers, Marines, airmen, sailors were always going to be looking for all of
Mm.
us. So that's a comfort I always had. That's something, that camaraderie you build, even though we tease each other, no matter what branch we're in. We talk about the squids, we talk about the chair fours,
The
and
Zoomies.
stuff like
Yeah.
that. But yes, we can do that amongst ourselves, but the people from the outside can't do that because we
Absolutely.
know
Yeah.
who we are and what we do to serve this country.
Mm.
So we
Yes,
knew
ma'am.
that they were on the ground actively looking for us, no matter what was going on in DC or anywhere else.
Mm. Mm.
So we knew we were being searched for. So we heard the conflict and we could hear it getting closer and closer, and you get like that adrenaline running and you get happy, but then they move you again and they
Mm.
move you again.
Mm. Such emotional, oh, my ups and downs.
And I knew
Yes, very much so.
there were others who were, I think, were there 11 killed in your unit during that
Yes.
ambush? Yes.
11 kids. Yeah,
Yeah.
11 died either during the ambush or the after effects of the ambush.
Did you know that at the time you were captured that you had lost comrades?
Yes,
Oh,
we
wow.
weren't sure of how many made it out and who had died. We knew we had a rough estimate of who had died.
Oh,
Once me and the
wow.
guys were put in the same room, we started speaking about who we knew for sure
Mm.
were
Mm.
gone because we saw it, and then we didn't know about others.
Mm.
Um,
Okay.
we're very thankful. We thought the number was higher. I'll be
Okay.
honest.
Okay.
Once I thought the number was higher. Once we got rescued and they confirmed who has gone,
Mm.
we were happy that some made it out alive.
And I read something about your faith. Can you
Yes,
elaborate a little bit on that?
I relied on my faith a lot to get me through. I am a practicing Catholic.
Mm-hmm.
I had long conversations with God about everything that
Mm.
I'd ever done wrong,
Mm.
um, from teasing my sisters and my cousins and stuff like that. Um, but I had walked away from my Catholicism, and then I come back just before my deployment, and before I even knew I was deploying, and it served me well,
Mm.
and I continue to serve in my church um,
Mm. God
at
bless you.
home.
God
Yeah.
bless you. You
Mm-hmm.
got it when you needed it,
Mm-hmm.
right on time.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
God bless you.
yes.
Thanks for
You
sharing.
know, and the thing is, I had gone earlier in 2002. I had gone through a bad breakup, and I was kind of lost, and I went back to the church and stuff like that. And then 2003, I'm deployed.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Wow.
Mm.
I saw that. I
So
read that you were isolated when you were when you guys were captured for those 22 days. So you did have an opportunity to see the others. Is that correct?
yeah,
Okay.
towards the end of the captivity,
Okay.
as a female, that is part of the Geneva Convention. I am supposed to be separated, but when you're the only one,
Yeah.
Mm.
it's difficult.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Danielle Corley, when
So
she
the
spoke
last
here on Veterans Views, I'm sorry, she talked about isolation being such a a terrible thing, and you talked about it earlier, that isolation when it comes to depression.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Especially since at first we were all in our own cells, and then they started to put the guys together, but I was still kept separate until the last two places. So I think it was by the second place or so, they started to put or the third place, they started to put the guys together, and I could hear them being together and me by myself. They always tried to, connect me, yell to me and stuff like that. Are you okay? How you doing? And stuff. But sometimes it was hard because then they would come back, the guards would come back and talk about shut up, don't talk and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it was.
So you even had to
It
withstand
was hard.
more as a female than your male counterparts because you were alone.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was alone. Yeah. But I have to admit, they took a lot of hits. They were not gentle with the guys. They softened up a little bit from me, but they were not gentle with the males.
Yeah, I remember
at
reading
all.
when you were dragged from under your vehicle and they saw your braids, they were kind of taken aback that you're
Yes.
female. And we are running out of time, and I wish we could talk for another hour, and I wish we could talk in person. But I want to talk about your book. I'm Still Standing, from captive.
Oh.
Yes, from captive U.S. soldier to free citizen. My journey home. The Shoshana Johnson story with M.L. Boyle. That is available on Amazon, correct? And
Yes, it is.
Yes, and let's go ahead and show a photo of that, Kemper, of Shoshana's book. I didn't have the chance. None of us had a chance here to read that yet because we booked you on the show so fast. But I am going to certainly get that show.
What
or get that
about a book signing
Oh,
here in this area?
Maybe we can host you for, Lieutenant Colonel Arthurine Jones is the brains
We
behind
could have
every
a book
operation.
signing here
Yes,
for
ma'am.
you. Oh
Yes,
my
ma'am.
goodness!
There you go, and we'd bring you here too. We would
Yes.
finance your trip here. We would be ever so honored.
And
there it is.
people would pay for signed book, or people would pay for your autograph on your book.
Oh,
Oh,
and
you look beautiful. Is this
look,
you?
That is her. I'm Still Standing.
Oh, my.
Former captive U.S. soldier to free citizen. My journey home, by Shoshana Nairi Johnson.
That's a very old picture.
Yeah. Is it?
Oh,
Where
you
is
look
that?
gorgeous.
Yeah, you're just beautiful in and out, and I am so very grateful that you could join us
Thank
today,
you.
as busy as you are, ma'am. And I do look forward to having the great honor of meeting you in person. We all do someday in this area. So let's keep the communication open, and maybe we can host
Absolutely.
you in this area. We wish you the best, the very best, and
Yes.
thank you.
Thank you.
for
Yes.
turning
Thank
your
you very
trauma
much.
into something positive, very positive for all of us.
Blessings.
Yeah, it was
Yes.
an honor to
Blessings.
speak to you today. Thank
Yes.
you for coming on.
Thank you very much.
I'm
Y'all are very kind.
I'm
Y'all
shaking.
are very, very kind.
I'm shaking.
I appreciate it.
It's emotional in here.
Yeah. God bless. We'll stay in touch, and we'll
Absolutely.
carry your selfless sacrifice for enduring freedom forward in all that we can do in our own lives. God bless.
you.
Keep you well, and we'll talk to you hopefully very soon. Thank you so much, Shoshana Johnson.
Absolutely.
And we didn't get to announcing any events, but that's okay. And the 4th of July, we will be here. The show is on with the Department of Defense Honor Guard.
Yay.
Everybody have a beautiful day. This is the amazing United States of America. Go out there and be kind, whatever you do, in honor of those brave souls like Shoshana who
Yes.
sacrificed so much for us. God bless. Take care.
Ashiro.
Our Shiro, indeed. Hoorah.